All right, so when I began this thesis process, or trying to find a site that I was thinking of, I knew I wanted to do an urban revitalization project based on the economy, the growing economy now, and just the interest that we have in our cities as we're looking more towards the urban centers. So I was fortunate enough to go on a tour with the LA Conservancy Group downtown at the Arts District, and what I noticed there when I was on that trip, that all the focus was on the buildings and all the adaptive reuse and structure to the built environment, and there was nothing that was focusing on the actual ground or public areas or street side. So, and I also noticed that there was no connectivity between these different adaptive reuse programs, and they were just sort of very into the project. So, but there, in the Arts District, and probably a lot of us know, there's a very vibrant community, and there's something sort of underlying there that I think provides a real opportunity for a great project. So my goals for this project are to create a cohesive basis for future development, maintain the existing character, history, and identity of the district, and provide open space and a safer, healthier community while responding to the current residents' and users' needs. So the area has been in transition for some 200 years. It originally was mostly agricultural lands, and then after then the railroad system moved in and it became more industrialized. And then after that, it was becoming more of a trucking industry place and even more industrialized. And so that's kind of what we see, the remnants of that today. But after World War II, there was a decline in the manufacturing, and so it became really run down. So on the surface, when you're down there, you see a lot of just a post-industrial landscape, a lot of rundown and vacant buildings, vacant lots, asphalt and concrete, very wide roads and very thin sidewalks if there's even a sidewalk at all. But if you look deeper and you walk around the area, you start seeing that it's a surprisingly active and vibrant community. There's a lot of people walking dogs and sitting outside of cafes, and just these unexpected flashes of color and art that's everywhere. It's just there's nothing that's really tying it all together. So looking at the site analysis, and the Arts District is a rather large site. You know, it goes from the 101 down to 7th Street, and then the LA River on the east, and then Alameda Street, I believe, is to the west. So it covers a lot of ground. I couldn't do a project on that entire site, obviously, so I had to look at the local streets and the land use and kind of determine where a good area for this project was. And so really it became the potential open space that sort of drove my design. And what I found was that around the SciArc area tends to be the most potential for open space. So yeah, the three elements of it really is the Traction Avenue vicinity, which provides an opportunity to create an active and vibrant street experience, the SciArc parking lot, which provides that open space potential, and the new proposed 6th Street viaduct is going to create an opportunity for a hub connection, because a lot of people are going to be coming in through that way. So as far as the big idea concept, what I went with was the triptych. And the triptych means, or defined as something that's composed or presented in 3 parts or sections. And so as this applies to my site, what I've done is I've kind of taken the different types of arts that we have or identified 3 different types of arts. So it's visual arts and built arts and performing arts. And so I've sort of overlaid them onto the site in the 3 areas that I just mentioned before. So the area around Traction Avenue is going to be a celebration of the visual arts, things like gallery walks and elements like that. The SciArc parking lot area will become more of the open space, and that's going to be a celebration of the built arts, because SciArc is an architecture school, if you guys don't know that, so that it ties in really well with that. And then there's also a housing portion just maybe just south of 4th Street. And then I'm adding the Performing Arts Center and Performing Arts section at the 6th Street viaduct connection, because that's going to be a really powerful place coming in, so it seems like a good opportunity to put that in. When coming up with programming for this project, it was important that I do some research and find out what the community wants, because there's a lot of, it can be kind of contentious with that sort of area, because a lot of people kind of want to like it the way it is and want to keep it the same. So I was lucky to find this group. It's called Uncommon Ground Group, and it's a not-for-profit community planning group that got together with members of the community, and they basically just said what they wanted to see in their community, in their neighborhood. So the findings of that really drove the programming of my project and what you really see on the master plan. So, and some of the things that they wanted, for example, were more walkability, more gallery space for art, more open space, obviously, and just more vibrant public open space and more sustainable principles as far as design goes. And then they also wanted access to a river walk, and there's a bunch of other things too. So we drove about 90% of the design. So as far as for the master plan, again, just kind of briefly go over the sections. The Traction Avenue area is right here. I changed it to a one-way street, and the Traction Avenue is basically going to celebrate the visual arts. So it's going to be like gallery walks, outdoor galleries, gallery space, and just kind of be driven programmatically by the community themselves, so they can kind of determine what they want in there. The Sciarc Park area, as it leads into the Sciarc Park area, it's actually closed down here, so it's pedestrian only from there on. And Sciarc becomes a rooftop garage. There's a garage that's underneath it for the parking. Because right now it's a parking lot, but it's really underutilized. So I can claim all the open space above and put all the parking underneath. So the parking has been pushed under Merrick Street, and then it becomes underground parking. So some of the things that are in there is there's a community arts center at the top, and then there's some active and passive outdoor spaces. And it's a celebration of the built arts and architecture. So there's architectural staging areas for Sciarc students. And also the visitors of the public can come in and kind of witness that happening. As you move beyond 4th Street, going south, there's 3 sections here which is still part of the built arts portion, and this is the housing section. So I'm thinking affordable housing, artist in residence, and maybe some of that, like student housing perhaps. And that was one of the things that they really wanted to come around. They want more housing in there. So. And then connecting is a little bit of a break visually between the 6th Street connection and then up here, because obviously what's going on the ground. So in order to connect it, I've got a pedestrian path and a bike path. That's sort of an urban bike trail that connects the 3 areas together. So yeah, and the Performing Arts Center, it's essentially it's to celebrate the performance of everyday life and people watching. It's sort of a very active, vibrant place, and to connect to that new 6th Street viaduct that's going to be coming in there. And it's a multi-experiential terrace place, so it actually rises up and terraces over the existing railroad tracks and provides access to a metro stop underneath. So I have 3 enlargements here. The enlargement of Traction Avenue really just shows one of the outdoor gallery spaces and the plaza for one of the housing sections. And what you see is that it's been redirected one way, and then the redirected out to 3rd Street. So it shuts down for the rest of Traction into Sciarc Park in that direction. And I created it as a one-way street, so I'm able to thin it down a lot and create a more vibrant sidewalk space for the residents and the artists in the area. So moving on to the Sciarc Park, this really shows just one small portion you can see here of just some types of activities that can go on. So you see the architecture staging area. Currently there's a mural wall, and it's huge. It's right there in the parking lot. It's really neat. And I thought maybe we could turn it into like a rock climbing wall as well. So then it's got outdoor fitness areas and children's play areas, and then like small passive recreation, so students can come and sit out and hang outside. And then the last enlargement is just showing the Performing Arts Center. And it's the rooftop garden on top of the Performing Arts Center, which I kind of see as like an outdoor screening for films that would be played upon here. And it's kind of hard to tell maybe, but this is actually a building. So this whole, it's different levels. You can kind of see here, these are the levels below, and then that's the rooftop garages above. So it's kind of a bunch of different spaces. And then it shows also the bike path and the pedestrian path along Santa Fe Avenue. Moving on to the sections, kind of self-explanatory on Traction Avenue, but obviously here's the underground parking for Sciarc. And then just kind of some of the activity and thing that's going on the surface. And then lastly really is showing the Performing Arts Center in relation to the terracing and the rising up and then the metro stop and the train track below, and then the future riverwalk as it connects to that. And then obviously is the proposed 6th Street viaduct, which is a really interesting, unique structure, and it comes down all together within the plaza, this area here. And then this is just some final views, some before and afters really, of Traction Avenue, Sciarc, and the Performing Arts Center. So if you're looking southeast along Traction Avenue, that would be the main view. This is looking northeast, aerial, and this is looking northeast as well. And, this would be if you were standing on 6th Street Bridge looking that way. And that's it.
Anybody have any questions for Ryan? sorry, we're not taking it.
Yes.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Anybody? No, right.
Ryan, can we go to the bridge connections?
Yes. You mean on this one?
Yes. Where, can you show me where the bridge is?
Yeah, well, so the cut line is actually in this way, so I'm just beyond it. There's a bridge connection that, and I'm kind of basing this off of what I've seen online, because I don't have formal plans for it, but from what I could understand or kind of gather, is these little arches come down, and it looks like they comes down right in here, or maybe right on this area. That's why I created a plaza, and it, you know, depending on what it actually would be on the ground, you know, maybe good things, but the connection would come right off the bridge about right here, so you would connect to a bus stop here, and you know, just the main open
Because
plaza.
they're outside of here, in the cut line.
Yeah, the bridge is, yeah.
And the river is, can you show me right there?
Yeah, and then this is the river walk.
And this is the metro station?
Right here, I'm proposing it to be underneath the platform.
Now, are there already existing railways there?
Yeah.
Is that is that going to happen, or is that a proposal on your part?
For the metro?
Uh-huh.
I've heard that it might happen, so yes, it is possible that they might be putting that in, but I don't think it's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, they've talked about it.
All right. I think everything is very, I used to be director of Art Share Los Angeles board, and so I know that area has really come up a lot in the last year. Silent came down there has helped, and I'm sure this bridge is going to be also phenomenal. But my question is this one space here, which is your Scion Park in Marshall. Is there parking in there? Because those are big spaces.
Parking's underground.
But it seems like, what's the scale of it?
The scale of this here?
Uh-huh,
This is 30.
30?
Yeah.
Okay, so how wide are those areas that are graded?
Well, it's kind of, okay, so that area is actually part of the main plaza that you kind of see here. It's this section here. So there's a large plaza that's going to be used for different sort of outdoor events and things like that, and farmers markets and elements like that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. It's kind of the heart of it. It's kind of the heart of it.
I think the question was how big.
It's huge. It's a huge.
That's 30, that's what.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
It's
yeah.
like 200. It's as big as a soccer field.
I don't know, is it that big? I don't really know.
That's 30.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
yeah, this is straight.
Yeah, I mean, it's large. I mean, this is the architecture staging area. It's the main area for the students to, you know.
Well, that's the only thing I see as being really maybe not a people scale at all, and probably as the least, it's the least design element of it. I see it being the weakest in design. It has, I don't see its purpose, and I don't see enough of it. I think the others are rich, but this one, just, it's so big and open and has trees just plop in. And, I see your architectural, paths, but even they are huge. So this seems to not really speak of the talent you have. Everything else looks really, really rich and thought out. And that's the least thought out one. Sorry, I don't mean to be discouraging, but it doesn't seem like a very enticing space. Whereas over here, this is very exciting. I like what you're saying. All of the others, you can see the richness of the environment there. This one just seems to have not gotten the attention that I think would benefit being recycled. And I just want to ask what it is.
Yeah.
Well, if I may, Ryan, I think one of the things that we talked about in class was that this piece becomes, as Ryan said, this architectural staging area, but it's really more than that. It's kind of a living piece. We all know that the Sci-Art students build their stuff out in the corner parking lot there at 4th Street, where nobody can see it except if you're driving by, you just came off the bridge. So this becomes almost a performance.
And architecture.
Right.
And so I know what Ryan was originally talking about, or what he continued to do was in looking at this area, all of the events that might be going around in this area based on that living architectural element, whatever it is.
Nice to see your idea of what might have been in there, and that would have
Yeah.
helped. Because having it as a tabula rasa right now, as opposed to showing it with an event happening, it leaves it a lot to that kind of.
What's the difference between the brown and the gray and the brown center?
Right, well, this is,
And I got here late, I'm sorry, but
No,
I
it's fine.
didn't get pulled up with me.
the brown is the DG, basically, it's a permeable paving. And I would just, I'm thinking of this as more of a hardscape, but also being permeable possibly as well.
I would agree with Stephanie. I know they have a lot of students and I know they do a lot of coding, but having that, I think it's 20 inches times 30, it's 600 feet from
Yeah. it is a-
whatever's on the left to whatever's on the right. I mean, it's really, it's like the parking lot that does the stadiums. I mean, it's that kind of scale if you're sitting in it. And the parking lot's bigger, but I mean, if you were in the
Right.
middle of it, it's pretty big and pretty open,
Yeah.
and pretty hot.
It could have,
It seems to want trees or something.
Okay, yeah.
I think trees in there would really help that grade.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes, Patrick.
What is at the edges of this site and how are you drawing people in from the outside and
You mean as far as
integrating it from the
Well-
inside out?
a lot of these areas, like this is pretty gritty right now, so there's not a lot going on there. I think maybe over time it'll start to build up. I've provided some through the different areas and sort of reaching out. I've provided some green alleyways, basically that kind of reach out into the community and kind of to frame future development perhaps as well, and to kind of pull people in. Obviously, this is sort of a big hub connection, and so yeah, I mean, I'm just right now it's kind of a greening around the outside, but then also sort of like greening away from it as well. Yeah.
What is the toy store loss? Are
The
they
toy loss, I think they're down. They've been further down. Yeah. Yeah, they're beyond 6th Street.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
All right.